Okay, so we're gonna jump into YouTube ads now. We talked about this a little bit in the past. And so YouTube doesn't have its own ad serving platform. You're actually gonna use the Google Ads platform that we were using before. So you're just gonna use Google Ads. So let's talk a little bit about the different ad formats before we get into it. So I'm gonna assume everybody watching this at least has a cursory understanding of YouTube. So I'm not gonna go straight into the very basics of it. I'm gonna assume that you've been on it, you've seen some ads on it, you understand where and when you see ads. Based on that. So let's talk about it real quick. So the first thing we have is skippable video ads. And so when and why would you use some of these? So skippable video ads, you skip after 5 seconds. And these are sometimes also called true view ads. And what you can do with that is, let's say I have an ad that's actually 2 full minutes long that I want to show. The person has the option to skip that after 5 seconds. So, but I only pay, as the advertiser, I only pay when somebody has hit the 30-second mark, or if they click through to my ad. So true view ads are often seen as the most useful and the most valuable ones. So they're the skippable video ads. So in the first 5 seconds, one thing a lot of people will say is, if you don't want to get ripped, then skip this ad right now. And the reason they're saying that is because then they don't get charged, right? So you might even want to consider that with one of your ads. Hey, 28 seconds in before it gets to the 30-second mark. If you don't like this, then exit out now before you actually get charged. So that's a way that people can find some pretty engaged traffic for cheaper, if you will. So I'd recommend doing that if you had access to it. Now there's also non-skippable video ads. These are a lot more expensive. So they're roughly 15 to 20 seconds long, and you don't give the customer or the viewer the option to skip at all. So they have to sit through the entire thing. The reason those are more expensive is because they're obviously painful for the viewer. Nobody wants to sit through that. And so YouTube doesn't serve those as often, but when they do, they charge people a lot for it. So next time you're looking, just notice that the people that do the non-skippable video ads, generally speaking, they're much larger brands that can afford it, and much larger brands that are trying to do some branding rather than sell you something. They want you to be stuck looking at what they have to offer, okay? And if you're looking for actual value, you wouldn't do that. If you're trying to get actual response and actual sales off that ad, you'd probably do skippable video ads. Now, another thing that you can also do if you're trying to get some ROI is bumper ads. So bumper ads are 6 seconds instead of 5 seconds. They're a little bit longer. They're only 6 seconds long. They cannot be skipped, but they are no longer than that either. So they're exactly 6 seconds. So you have a really quick amount of time to say, hey, buy my new set of shoes. Click the link below, right? So those are very, very cheap. You might be thinking 6 seconds, that's not a lot of time. It's the cheapest way to advertise. So if you can find a way to get a good hook in 6 seconds, you can find some value there. So those are the 3 main video types of ads. We also have overlay ads in YouTube, which I'm sure you've seen before as well, where you're watching the video, something kind of pops up, midway through the video, and it's kind of on the bottom, and it's, buy something related to this thing that you're watching. Those are also very, very cheap. The engagement is not great on those. But it's also worth trying. So this is always just a chart, right? It's always if traffic costs this amount, but they can get me this amount, then the cost doesn't really matter. It's always about the ROI. So try any of these formats that you want if you're looking for ROI, and just see what is actually bringing you value. All right, so let's go into the Google Ads account itself and let's create a new ad. So go in here just like we did when we were creating those search campaigns. We're gonna hit this plus sign here. I'm gonna create a new campaign. So we have a few objectives: sales, leads, website traffic again. So let's say our goal this time is website traffic. Let's change it up a little bit. And our conversion, just like we set up before, is purchases. And from here, that's where we're gonna access our campaign type. So we set up a search one earlier. We set up a performance max one earlier as well. Let's go to video. So let's click video, with our goal to be drive conversions, drive some more conversions with these video ads. And then we'll click continue. So at this point, this is the second time you've now seen this. You should be somewhat familiar. So we'll do a campaign name of Video Ad USA for conversions. Let's put the goal in there as well. So our bid strategy is maximize conversions. You can also do, and what I really recommend is doing a target cost per acquisition. So with a target CPA, what you'll be able to do is, so you've already done the math, right? You've used the calculator, you know what your ROI needs to be. I can say, okay, my product, my average order value is gonna be $60. And I know my profitability is, I got like a 60% margin on my product. So if I'm 2 to 1 or better, I'm probably pretty good. So if my average order value is going to be $60, then maybe I'll do a cost per acquisition at $30, or maybe it will be even safer. We'll say $25. So that'll be safe for me. See, that's a safe way. Just like with the Performance Max campaign, we made sure that it was going to be over 500% or 600% to be safely profitable. In this case, we can do a similar thing with a target cost per acquisition. So you do the math yourself, and then once you are ready, decide what that's going to be. So we'll say $25. The problem will be just like with Performance Max, where if you make your target CPA too low, you're not going to spend. If you make it too high, you're not going to make enough money. So you got to find where on that bell curve is the perfect place for you to be. So play with it. If you're spending plenty of money at a $25 cost per acquisition, drop it to 23. If that still works, drop it to 22, drop it to 21. Keep going down until you aren't spending money anymore, and then maybe that's your sweet spot. Then you backed all the way down to $15 cost per acquisition, and it just wasn't working. So then you put it back up to $17.5, $18, and you finally found your sweet spot where you're really profitable. So we're be target cost per acquisition. Let's put in that $25 a day budget again. It's got a recommendation for increasing your budget it wants you to spend $400 a day, right? So just do whatever your budget can actually afford. Just like everything else, if you can spend more and get a better sample size, it's going to be better for the algorithm. You're going to get your results faster, but if you just don't have the budget, you don't have the budget. So where we're going to show these ads, you used to have the option to toggle off, let's say, videos on the display network, but you don't have that option anymore. So it is what it is. You're going to show in the YouTube search results, on YouTube videos, and in Google's video partners. And you can find more information on that as well if you want information on that. So we're going to target just the United States. Here it wants us to target all languages, especially in YouTube. It's really important to make sure you're just targeting your language specifically. So we'll make sure that says English. So content exclusions, let's talk content exclusions right here. So there's inventory types where you want your ads to go, or be shown. So there's expanded inventory, which basically includes everything on YouTube, everything out there. So you can see it says excessive profanity, graphic sexual content and nudity, graphic violence and serious injury. So if you're selling kids toys or something, maybe that's not the place for you. But for a lot of brands, you might not care. Like the content of the ad itself might not have much reflection on what you are trying to show, because maybe you're going to be targeting people based on who they are and what their interests are. And if they're just out watching some graphic video, you may still want to target that person. So maybe you want to do expanded inventory, but they recommend standard inventory. So let's stay on standard inventory. They also have limited inventory, which if you really had a tight brand, like let's say you're advertising a church or something like that, you might want to stick with just limited inventory. But for you, let's just stick with standard and maybe even expanded if you're feeling a little dangerous. And then from here, we can select what types of content we want to exclude. So I have a few recommendations for you. The content based around the rating, so G, PG, rated teen, don't worry about that, because again, we're going to target people based on who they are, not what they're looking at. So the customer will still be useful. Now, what I want you to exclude is live streaming videos, okay? Because live streaming videos, when people are watching live streaming videos, they're inherently doing something else at that point in time. So the odds of someone, it's like watching TV, right? You're waiting for the commercials to be over, especially if something's live. You're probably not going to click through and then all of a sudden see what this website's about and go shopping, all while the show you've been watching is still going live. So exclude live streaming videos. That will help your ROI. So we've got a few different additional settings that I want you to keep track of. This is also asking for site links just like before. So do it just like you did before. Add some site links, add some extensions. So you can set specific targeting for devices. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to exclude TV screens. Someone watching on a TV screen, they can't click your ad. They can't go to your website. So you'd only utilize a TV screen if you were just trying to do branding. You just wanted people to see who you are. So just, computers, mobile phones, tablets, people can click that and then go to your website. From here, the only thing you're going to exclude is TV screens. They cannot engage with you from there. Here's another good one, frequency capping. Frequency capping. So cap how many times, how many impressions or how many views are on your video. So that's the number of times someone sees that in a given day or a week or whatever you want to set your frequency at. So you don't want to keep showing your ad to the same person. If that person's been on YouTube for an hour or two and they've seen your ad 7 times, it's not going to work the 8th time. It's not going to work. So let's set a impression cap. Let's say 3, 2 or 3 per day is a good place to be. Maybe you want to do per week too, but that'll start limiting the amount of times your ad can be shown. So let's stick with 2 to 3 per day as a impression cap. You can add schedule, so you can schedule what time of day you want it to be seen. For you, an e-commerce store, that probably doesn't matter as much because someone can buy from you any time of day. And now we're onto the ad group. So video, what did I name the campaign? Let's name it something similar to the campaign. Video ad USA. So this is where we're gonna start targeting the people, just like we've done in Google before and Facebook after that. So let's start targeting demographics. So what kind of metaphor can we go with on this one? Let's stick with the shoe one, just like we did on Facebook. So maybe we know that people that are gonna be really old and really young aren't gonna wanna stick with our brands. So you've got the option here to exclude people that are unknown. I think you need to resist the urge to exclude unknown people, because over 50% of browsers now are not being tracked properly. So there's gonna be a lot of people in that you're going to exclude that could be one of your buyers. So go ahead and leave unknown audiences on rather than turn that off. So the same will apply for household income here. Maybe I know that whatever I'm selling, it just does not apply to people in the lowest income bracket. So let's go ahead and exclude them. And maybe even people getting higher up as well. So we've got optimized targeting down here. So use optimized targeting ads. So optimized targeting helps you get more conversions within your budget. Google may find people beyond your selected audience. So that's similar to, what we would call that is a lookalike audience. So a lookalike audience is basically, I've established an audience of these people, but there's some people around that audience that could be somewhat similar. So show to those people as well. And so Google claims to give you more conversions for optimized targeting. Just go ahead and go with it. So if they claim for $100 that you can get 20% more conversions, that could be the difference between not being profitable and being profitable. So just go ahead and leave that on. So the final thing to note when you're creating an ad has to come from a currently existing YouTube video. So that video doesn't have to be live. It could be private. It can be hidden, but it has to be hosted on YouTube. So what I have here is Ed Sheeran's Heinz ad from a few years ago. And so what you'll do is you'll basically just take the URL. You can also go to share down here and copy the URL. But you're gonna copy that URL. You're gonna plug it straight in, right? And so now you can start getting a preview of what your ad's gonna look like. It starts around your various campaigns. So let's say I wanna go to ecommerceuniversity.io and get my paths just like I had before, just like when we were creating the search ads. It's not gonna be too dissimilar to that. So e-commerce education. Right, give me a call to action. So there's a few preset ones, but you can make your own call to action here too. Get school, whatever you want there, And honestly, if you want to deviate from the call to actions that already exist, I think that would be a good idea. A lot of people by now have seen learn more, get information, shop now, etc. That could be a good time for you to say something that's like, well, that kind of jumps out a little bit. So feel free to do that. And again, just like we did before, you're gonna create a headline, a long headline. So I'll just put in some placeholder text here. E-commerce, learning how to sell on Shopify. So I'm just doing this just so we can get to the end of the creation process. And so from there, you're going to create campaign. That thing's gonna be done. So again, let me highlight the most important things of creating that YouTube ad here. The most important thing is having a good video. I think that goes without saying. Have a good video. If you're going to be using a true view ad, feel free to encourage somebody to skip your ad. I mean, really, if you don't want someone coming through that's going to charge you for something that you're then not gonna get the conversion for. So within the ad, feel free to do that. And while you're going through, set a cost per acquisition that will make you money, because you're in full control of that. And like I've said before, you have the option to advertise for things that are going to make you money. We went through SEO, we went through paid ads, paid social, we're gonna go through affiliate marketing, we're gonna go through all these different things. You don't have to do everything for your website. If you try a YouTube ad and it doesn't make you money, don't keep forcing it. Just let it go. Just let it go. Let it be a sunk cost, the cost of making that film, cost of making the ad, the cost of your time dealing with it. If it's not gonna keep making you money, don't worry about it.